Welcome to the podcast, Badass Mother Hustler, where the grit, stress, and the beauty of motherhood and entrepreneurship meet. We'll share the realities and stories of what it takes to make it all work and still be a badass mother. Now here's your host, Maddie Jagger.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode. Today, I am so happy to have with us badass mother hustler Samantha Shortt. She is the owner of the Inn at Whitewing Farm and also mother to Maddie, age 9, and Jagger, age 8. Hello.
Hi, Maddie. I am so excited to be here. This is so cool. You are so inspiring. I'm just pumped. This is awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. So for people that are listening, went to high school together, but you're a little bit older than me, so we never really overlapped, but we both are in the same community. We're both business owners, and we reconnected this year through our Entrepreneur Moms group.
Which is so nice to even be able to reconnect with someone that you have the same kind of history with. It's just cool how our worlds have collided all over again, and I'm here for the ride. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's been so awesome to talk to entrepreneur moms locally and nationally and just hear everyone's stories. And before I hit record, I was just saying, I'm so excited for you to share your story. And I just love hearing it every time you tell someone when we're at our entrepreneur moms group. It's really, really cool.
I know, and I feel bad. I'm always repeating what has happened to us and how we've ended up here, but people still want to know about it. And it's been quite the journey that we have been on at this farm, and I wouldn't really want to be anywhere else.
Yeah. So fill everyone in about what your business is.
Okay. So I own the Inn at Whitewing Farm. We're a bed and breakfast in Chester County. I have 11 guest rooms in total. Our backyard or our front yard hits Longwood Gardens backyard. So to give an idea of where we are in the heart of the Brandywine Valley, but on a cute little country road where it's still nice and quiet. We have about 4 different outbuildings that our guests are in. No one's in our main house. The chaos is kept inside, but all of our guests have their own private entrance, private bathrooms. It is, a beautiful place to live. It's a beautiful place for people to visit. We sit on about 13 acres, so there's lots to do. We have a pool, a pond, and a tennis court for our guests to enjoy. So it's like a destination here.
It is stunning. And every time we pull up for our meeting, because Sam hosts our Entrepreneur Moms group there, it's just awesome. It's so beautiful. And I love just creeping around every time I show up.
Yeah. I grew up 10 minutes down the road, never knew it was here. My best friend lived in the neighborhood across the street. Never even once thought that my life would bring me here. And it has. And it's beautiful any season. It was originally a part of Longwood. So all their old trees and all that good stuff is here with us too.
I did not know that it was a part of Longwood Gardens.
Yeah. Yeah. Way back when the president of DuPont bought this, when, they started bringing in all of the old trees for Longwood and starting to build everything. So, he made an order for himself too, which works out great for us.
So people that are listening and are not from Chester County area, Longwood Gardens is known nationally. People really, really love the Christmas lights and decorations, and they fly in. And they should stay at your place because you are there.
Yeah, no, they have flown in from all over the world. We've had, local guests, right around the corner that want to get away from their kids. And then I've had people from Europe and Japan, and Australia was our most recent faraway guest. And it's so cool to keep track of where these people come from. How did they find us? What really brought you here? And then every once in a while, we'll get the random person that didn't even know Longwood Gardens existed, which is oh, well, thank you for wanting to stay with us. I know Longwood is the pool, but that's always so funny to hear.
That's really funny. They show up and they are like, you tell them and they're like, oh, okay, I guess we'll check that out.
Fountains. If you're here, this is the place to go. It's one of the top fountains in the world. This is where you need to be. But we're lucky. There's all the other DuPont estates that are right in this little nook of the world We're in the center of America's garden capital, which is 30 gardens within 30 minutes of Philadelphia. I wasn't aware that was here either. So we're in a really good little spot here.
Okay, that's super cool because I thought that we were the mushroom capital of the world, but now we're also that.
Yeah, and if you go on their website, you can order a little garden passport. And it's such a cute little thing that you can take with you to fill out to every garden you go to as like a little journal. And they're doing great with that.
That sounds like a really cool thing for like homeschool moms or
So
dads.
cool. Oh my gosh, such a cool place. And most of them are free. A lot of them are free gardens that you can go in and see.
Yeah,
So,
that's awesome. So why don't you tell everyone how you ended up, you started 10 minutes from here. How did you end up where you're at? Why'd you move 10 minutes? How'd you end up as an innkeeper?
Right? I grew up in a restaurant. My family owns an Italian restaurant in Exton, Pennsylvania for a little over 30 years. My parents bought it the year before I was born. And they grew up from 12 seats to about 250 and even sold product on QVC. So we've done so much hospitality our entire life, and that's all we've ever really known. My dad opened up a catering company, and we would take our food and our staff and go to different venues. And we finally decided we needed our own. And we stumbled upon Whitewing Farm. And it's so funny because we all thought he was crazy. Like, who has time to have another business on top of the restaurant? And he just fell in love. He pulled in the driveway. He fell in love. It was a destination wedding without getting on a plane. All of the rooms were empty. They were vacant for about 10 years before we got here. So we had a lot of work to do. They were tearing down a greenhouse. I'm in one of our suites right now. They were in the middle of tearing this building down. We stopped all that and we moved over to Whitewing Farm. And it's been crazy because I guess, didn't do our homework as much as we should have. We assumed, since the previous owners hosted weddings, that we would be allowed to host weddings. And we didn't even think about opening up a bed and breakfast. We thought people would stay here on the weekend, check in Friday, have the rehearsal, get ready on Saturday, get married down by the pond, check out Sunday morning, and we were good for the rest of the week.
That's what I love. I love how the property was bought as one business and you thought that the hours were going to be one way, and then it's not.
We thought we'd be at the beach the rest of the week. I mean, we all had like this dream of, oh my gosh, we'll work Thursday through Sunday and we'll go to the beach, or I'll raise my kids, or whatever we decide to do. And we went in fearless, which I guess is what you have to do. And it didn't work. And the township came back and said no. And the next thing you know, you're at this property. We've sold our house. We used our savings. We poured everything we had into this. And it was like, okay, it's make it or break it. And we opened the rooms up as bed and breakfast.
How long had you guys owned it for until you found out you couldn't do the weddings?
Almost 2 years, because we had to rebuild.
Oh.
Right. We had to get the property back in the way it should have looked. I mean, it was beautiful when we pulled in, but things were overgrown. We had to, paint, pick out bedding, linen. I mean, so many things that we're room service people. We're not bed and breakfast people. I have still never been to one. It's just not what I want to go do. I want to be waited on when I'm able to be gone away. And I don't want to sit and chit chat. And I think everyone has this notion that a bed and breakfast is someone's home, where you're so in your own space here. But we had no idea. We really thought we were going to have our catering company here, and that was it, and like right off into the sunset. And that's just not how it works sometimes.
Yeah.
We had to bob and weave, and boy, did we bob and weave. I mean, back then there was no booking online. People had to call and get reservations. I didn't have like a computer system to take. I hand wrote every single reservation. I would send confirmations out in the mail. Like, it was just a totally different ball game.
And that was only like how many years ago?
13.
Yeah, but
I mean, so much changed.
The way we're talking about it makes it sound like it's like
And
the Stone Age.
yes, so much has changed. So when we finally sold our restaurant, we sold that like 2 years prior to COVID. And once it was like, okay, this is our only source of income now. So not that we didn't take it seriously before. It was like, oh, if we want to live here and we want to be here, we have to have other people be here too. So I said, give me the ball. Let me run. I hired a marketing company that I researched for months. I rebuilt our website. We never had like Google ads. We never did any kind of marketing. So anything like that, I learned all of that within like a year. And my marketing team gave me a crash course, and that's where we're at now.
How old were you when you moved to that property?
22.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you were like hands in doing.
I didn't know any different. I mean, I worked every day at the restaurant. So, I mean, it's funny, I was doing payroll and I was doing the scheduling and I was doing the ordering and, checking inventory. And that's just how I was raised. I didn't know any different. I mean, to the point I went to college and I sat in a marketing class and I was like, oh, I know all this. This is just what the real terms are.
You're like, why am I paying for this?
I did. I called my mom on the way home. I'm like, Mom, you're never going to believe this. They taught me how to do payroll today. And like, we're hysterically laughing. I've known how to do payroll for my entire life. Like, I don't know any different. I know to work hard and to like hustle. And yeah, it's just different than school can teach you.
So absolutely. Did you finish college or were you like, yeah.
I didn't finish.
Yeah.
I was going to the Art Institute in Philadelphia. It was for fashion marketing. I got to do that here with like the rooms and the paint, and I like moved into like interior design, which is cool. Still same concept, but in my head years ago, I thought I was going to own a store in the main line somewhere, and that's what I wanted to do. But the way that has changed, I would never want a store now.
Yeah.
It's online. So this worked out great.
It's really funny how things shake out.
Isn't that wild? We say it all the time. You just have to believe. And when there's a problem, it's like, you know what? Everything's going to be okay. It's going to work out the way it's supposed to be. And as long as you have that mindset of here's the bump in the road, we're going to get over it. It's going to be fine. Normally it works out that way.
What are some types of problems that you come across in your business?
Right now, it's more of like, since it is myself and my parents, it's old school and new school colliding, and how we do things, and how we choose to file, or silly things like office work, or no one ever paid bills online. I was like, this is insane. Why are we spending a day writing checks? Can I have the stuff? Can I just like log in and take care of it? So it's like those kinds of things.
Maybe I should be friends with your parents, because my accountant was finally like, you don't have to write a check to do your estimated quarterly. Like, use this website. And I was like, well, I guess.
That's a big step to go from writing it yourself to trusting to do it online. So I get that. So it's like I have these other two people that I have to pump up and be like, this is going to be okay, and go from there.
What is it like living in a house with your parents and your kids?
It's the coolest thing in the world. It is. We are so fortunate. We all like each other. Like, we really, really like each other. They are my biggest fans. They're just great people. My kids don't know any different. This is how they grew up. And it's funny, they would call our house that we live in our house. And then the hay barn is where our guests have breakfast and where our office is, and kind of like the common area for our guests. And they call that Nanny and Pop-Up's house.
Really?
Oh, it's so funny. Should we go up to Nanny and Pop-Up's house? That's not Nanny and Pop-Up's house, but it's what they've called it since they were little. Our house was our house, and Nanny and Pop-Up are there. And it's cool. We get to have dinner together. They get to be a part of baseball games. They get to be part of horseback riding lessons and go over and see them. The other day, all of our guests went out for the day. It was beautiful. We went to the pool as a family. So we pick and choose I mean, there is times where we have to work, 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 and it's crazy. But you get these moments of like joy and like we call them perks. Like these are our perks. Like we get to take the dog for a walk together after dinner. We get to teach the kids how to fish in the pond or play tennis on the tennis court. And it's, I mean, I didn't grow up like that. I mean,
Yeah.
I grew up in a business, but it's like, you know, I was in a townhouse for most of my life till we moved out to Unionville. So just the space alone to get them outside all day, every day it's just beautiful.
13 acres is amazing.
It's wild. Never in my life, we tease, like my parents grew up in Little Italy in Wilmington. Like no one would have ever in a million years thought we would be here. It's just hard work. You just work hard and good things happen. And I feel like that's what we're trying to do.
What was it like? Well, I guess how long had you lived there before you had Maddie?
2 years.
So
2
you're
years before I had Maddie. So at that point, I was still working at the restaurant. And then when I got pregnant with Maddie, I cut my hours back there and I did most of just the office work from home. And when I had to drive in, I would drive in. It was only an exit. It was a half an hour away. No big deal. But then when I had Maddie, she had like 2 bedrooms. My office in our hay barn had a pack and play and it had the play mat and whatever she needed for us to go to work together, she came to work. And I swear she'd only cry when the phone rang.
Isn't that the way it is?
Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. I used to dread that part. But other than that, it's just so cool. They grew up here. And then when Jagger came along, Jagger was only a year and a half later. So they were both in there with me. And that was a little wild. That was a little crazy with two.
Yeah, because
it was wild just in
you'd
general.
never put them in daycare or anything, right?
No, they didn't start preschool till Maddie was, I think, almost 3.5. I wanted to be a mom. Like I wanted them to be home with me. I wanted to do all of the things. And I think everyone thought that since I lived at home, I had like built-in help all the time, but they were at work. Like we were full. So there was no like, mommy, I need your help. No, it was me. I was at home with them and I still had to make my office work get done and work.
Yeah. What was a day like for you when you had them under 2 or when they were a little bit older than
That
that?
was crazy. I feel like nothing like was really settled until they were both in preschool. And then COVID happened and then they were home again. But we would go up and do breakfast and they helped it with breakfast since they were little. I mean, I have videos of Maddie doing dishes, standing on the step stool, and carrying out little parfait glasses. I have pictures of Jagger answering the phone. Like they've always been so involved that it just worked. And I had the privilege to be able to go out and do things when I wanted to because it was always like I was a mom first and then I did this. So I had backup with my parents here, which makes it just so much nicer.
It's really cool that you grew up in a business and now your kids are growing up in a business. Now that they're older, what is it like for them? Well, I guess they've never known any different, but like, do they think it's weird that people are just always on your property or do they interact with the guests?
It's so cool. So when they're in school, I come up and I work from like 9 to 2. And then if I have PTO or I have, any kind of mom thing at school, I split early and I go do that. And then I, leave and I go get them. And then I'm mom for the rest of the night. Now, if someone needs to check in late, the 3 of us walk up and check them in. And if someone needs something, towels, whatever it may be, the 3 of us just take care of it. And it's fun. They don't know any different. I mean, they were out power washing when they were little. I mean, we had to get Jagger is going to be a landscaper someday. I don't know what he's going to be when he grows up. He could be so many things because he can landscape. He can talk to the guests. Maddie could run the place by herself now. Maddie goes up. She gets herself dressed in the morning now that it's summer. She walks up to the hay barn before I get there, does breakfast with my parents, serves all the guests, talks to all of them. It was funny when they started going to school, they missed the adult interaction. I mean, she came home the first week of like elementary school and was like, Mommy, I'd like to sit with the teachers. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, the kids have nothing to talk about. And I'm like, oh, you're so used to adults that you don't know how to have a conversation with a kid.
Which
Which
is
is cool, but it's like, oh, did I mess up? But like, wow, most kids don't know how to speak to adults. This morning, a guest walked in. I was in a meeting with our accountant. Jagger walked up to the guest and said, excuse me, sir, are you checking out? I'll take your key. Would you like your balance run on the same credit card? And I'm like, oh my God, you're so grown up.
that is wild for an 8-year-old. I think it is amazing, but I mean, think of other 8-year-olds, or 9, 10-year-olds. You think that they would walk up to an adult and just have a conversation like that? And soft
I'm an
skills
adult and don't want to walk up to an adult. I'm very shy. I'm here in my own space, so I'm more outgoing. I've grown a lot in the past couple years, but I'm more on the reserve side. And to see the two of them blossom into this role of not being scared, of being aggressive, of, Maddie reorganized my desk the other day. And then she went to my mom's desk and was like, Nanny, I think you need to take care of this paper. And she was like, oh, okay, I will. And then something else happened. And she's like, call Pop-Up, tell him it needs to be done. And there's no like, oh, I don't want to call, or, oh, I don't want to say the wrong thing. It is what she feels, and they're not scared of anything.
And that is such an amazing gift that you've given your kids,
Mm-hmm.
because it's going to help them out so much in the long run.
So much. It is so cool. Yeah, we're really fortunate.
What else have I got here? So I just
know. I can feel like my skin's red. I'm
it's
nervous.
a lot to take in. So my other question was, because you are an innkeeper and you run it with your parents, what happens if you all want to go away?
It's the worst. So we all get jealous of each other, which I mean, I understand, but it's, I'll take the kids to the beach or we'll go do something. It's like, oh, have fun. We'll be here. And then my parents went to Cancun last year and it's like, oh, I'll be here. So if we all want to go together, we close. So I close for a week in July. We go down to Ventnor or Margate in New Jersey, and that's like just our favorite place in the world. We take the dog. I mean, we take my granny. It is just a full-blown still family. It's all 7 of us. We're all still together. And then in August, sometimes I close for 3 or 4 days and do like a little weekend. But that is like our current new, it's not a problem. It's just like the next hurdle we have to get over. And it's like, what are we going to do? Because it's a killer to close your business for a week. I mean, you still get your reservations coming in, but costs a lot of money to close.
Yeah.
That's always such a hit. So now we're talking, do we hire somebody? Do we want to bring somebody else in, which would be weird, but wonderful. We would love someone who would want to help. Or, do I make it like an Airbnb for the week? And I did that last year. I did a test run last year. I did 2 days out of the 7 that we were gone and made it like an Airbnb guest self check-in. And it worked out beautifully. We have a lot of repeat guests, and a lot of them were repeats. So they miss seeing us and having the full breakfast experience, because breakfast is a full-blown hour-long experience of their stay. But it worked out well. There was a few guests that didn't read like the small details that there wouldn't be breakfast. So there was a few hiccups, but that's our next, hurdle to get over.
That was something that I was interested in hearing about, because I mean, you and I see each other a lot, and I meant to ask you, but I figured I just
that's a good question. Yeah, and if you have any ideas, we will take them. It's just we're so used to being the 3 of us that it's hard to trust somebody else to come in. I think when it's your home at stake too. We don't have that car ride home from work that a lot of people have. We have the walk down the driveway. It's a beautiful walk, but you don't have that, half an hour to decompress after your day. So it's a lot to trust into somebody. but we're all going to burn out if we don't. So something's got to give, and it's got to give soon.
The Airbnb idea type thing is a great
Mhm.
idea, especially since it's repeat guests and they're familiar with their property, with your property and how everything runs.
That
What
seemed to work out really well.
is the busiest time of year for you, or is it pretty steady all year round?
So lucky that like Longwood is the best neighbor in the world. So whenever Longwood is busy, we're busy. We used to tease that January, February, and March were our peaceful season, that it was low key. Our weekends would be filled still, but like during the week, like we knew as a family we could chill. Like we could catch up on whatever it is we needed to catch up on. We could go to the local attractions and see what our guests are actually seeing. It was just like our chill time of the year. And the weather has been great. There has been no chill time. So when we thought we were getting this past January, February, and March, it was insane. There was no chill for us, which is wonderful. I'm so glad people still want to come. But normally it's anyone between like April through December. As soon as those spring blooms hit at Longwood, that is like you're on the ground running. It is nonstop. I mean, I hate to keep saying how fortunate we are. We're 98% booked for the year. So it's just, it's crazy.
I mean, so we have all these women that show up at your place for
Mhm.
our entrepreneur group, and it's funny because it's tucked away, like you said, on a backcountry road, surrounded by some other farms, and all these people are local, and they didn't realize that this
There's
awesome
so many
place is
people
back
that
here.
don't know we're here.
You're like Chester County's hidden gem.
That's what people were saying with the hidden gem. It was cute. We sponsored Jagger's baseball team. So the back of his jersey had In at Whitewing Farm on it. And I was on the other end of the bleacher. I would have like hopped in and said something. But the other moms were like, what is In at Whitewing Farm? And I could hear them like pull it up on their phone and be like, oh my gosh, it's in our backyard. Like, we want to go. How did we not know about it? So yeah, I haven't really hit too much marketing right in this little tiny area. I work really close with our visitors bureau, which is around the corner. And Nina Kelly is just an amazing person. She is such a good partner. And she helps us with, marketing overseas and marketing in like a Washington, D.C. area and Virginia and, anywhere that's more than like an hour and a half away, which would be kind of like that time where like, maybe we should stay overnight.
Yeah, I guess that was my question. My next question was, do you have a lot of local people staying? And maybe that's why local people don't really know about you.
We have a lot of local people, even in the neighborhood next door, that like want to get away from the kids for the night and are scared to go far away, or it's their first night away from the kids and the grandparents are there for the first time and they know they are 5 minutes away. They can be home in seconds. I have a lot of locals that have their families stay with us. The farm that hits us directly behind us, when her family comes in, they run out the entire place. She has a big family from California, and this is like their home base since they all can't fit at her house.
That's
So,
amazing.
yeah, that's fun. No, and it's so fun when we do like a property takeover. And we do a lot where like friends rent out the entire property all together or families and have like a little reunion. So it's cool when everyone knows each other and I don't know, gets that like really extra good like family time.
Now, what is unique is your place is no pets and no kids.
It's a killer. People get
Only your kids.
only mine, and I know, and I feel so guilty because I'm like, everyone thinks their kids are so well behaved, but my kids are well behaved, but our guests are coming to get away from their children. It was up to us. There'd be pets, there'd be children. It would be like a circus, but we can't.
Was it always no pets, no children, or did it
Always.
start? Okay.
Yeah, we started off that way. And then you get to know your guests because we do have so many repeat guests and we become so close with so many of them. I mean, they send my kids Christmas presents. I mean, it's that kind of bond that you create with these people where they'll call and be like, oh, can we bring our grandkids? And then it's like, okay, all right, we'll cave. You can bring your grandkids. You all have to stay in the same building so you don't, upset any other guests, but then you can't come to breakfast till 10 o'clock. So we do try to work with people. Obviously service animals are more than welcome. we've had a few celebrities that have stayed with us that have brought their pets, and that's kind of been, they were service animals as well. So like there's, it happens. I mean, we've had
Can
people.
you name drop any celebrities, or did you have to sign some NDAs?
You know what? I didn't sign anything. If you look up who frequently goes on QVC, you would know who stays here.
All right, people, get to Google.
That way. And she is lovely. And I will tell you, she was on the ground playing with my children, with her dog. And she wrote them letters, and she still keeps in touch. And it's very cool. It's, you grew up watching Cruel Intentions. That's a good hint.
I wish I knew, but God, I'm gonna have to get on Google after this. I'm a book reader.
That's funny. No, what else was she in? Legally Blonde.
Okay, that's
Legally
better.
Blonde, very good hint. She was one of the main characters in Legally Blonde. She's a lovely, lovely person, and her dog is the coolest.
Shake your head, yes or no. Reese Witherspoon. Okay, I'm still gonna have to get on Google. So are there any other obstacles that you are trying to overcome, or anything that was hard to overcome with the kids running a business?
The pulling yourself in two directions is always hard. I feel like I was more of a stay-at-home mom when they were little, where I'd come over for an hour here or there, do what I need to do, or do it when they were sleeping. But now that they're busy, they have things to do, and I want to give them those opportunities to do those things. And I'm fortunate that horseback riding is 5 minutes away, but travel baseball is up to an hour and a half, sometimes 2, and nothing's going to come in the way of us going. So that's hard. The pull of being, I want us to be busy, and I want to give my full attention to this, but also wanting to give my full attention to them.
They're only little for so long.
Right. And I don't want to miss anything. I was given an opportunity to be a mom. I don't want to take it for granted. I don't want to look back and be like, oh, I wasn't there, or mommy wasn't there. No, mommy shows up, like, no matter what.
Oh, hell yeah. Mommy shows up.
Mommy shows up. Mommy will be there. Like, nothing is getting in my way. So those hurdles of finding somebody else to be here, that's our biggest, I think that's our biggest issue at the moment. Like, we would all like to be there.
Yeah.
So it's hard for us all to be there. We went to an estate sale the other morning around the corner.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was wild.
Like 1,000 people there, I saw.
Insane. We left here at, I guess, at 10, and we had to wait in line to get in, which it was very cool. We wanted to see the property, and I got a few things for our property, but it was like my mom had to stay, and like we felt bad leaving her, and she's like, no, you and your dad go. Like, you have the vision. I'm not the one she's not the creative one. So it was more of me having the vision to go, but you feel like that pull.
So someone, like, she couldn't come with you just for the 2 hours or whatever? Like,
no, we were in the middle of breakfast.
Oh, okay.
We were checking out. I mean, really, between that 11 o'clock and 4 o'clock check-in time, we have some freedom. And, we've put a note up, call us if you come in early or whatever it may be. But, there's people on your property. You kind of have to be available.
Well, you guys all went to the Rolling Stones concert together, right?
That was a perk. That's like one of the, that was one of the perks. We had a neighbor. She is 16. Her name is Ashley. She is lovely. And Ashley will come babysit the farm.
Like when people are there.
You have to leave. And she can check everybody in. She can call any of us. She's a lovely girl. She comes from a beautiful family that we absolutely adore. So we're close with them. So it's a little different than hiring out just a random person.
Well, and that's great for just a few hours.
Yeah. I mean, that was so cool. I mean, to take my kids, my parents, my granny.
Yeah, because
we were all there. We're a party of 7 now. So the 7 of us went. And those are those core memories that are so important that if we don't work hard, we don't get to have.
So people don't know, if they didn't pick up on it, your grandma lives on the property too.
Oh, yeah, she does. But she's not, oh God, this is awful. She's not the one that goes out with us. My mom's mom lives in Wilmington. We worked at the restaurant with her. I grew up having dinner with her every Friday night. Even like as a young adult, when I was 21 and wanted to go to the bar, you sat down, had dinner with Granny, and then you went out. And it's been like that forever. We still have Friday night dinner together. But she drives up 3 or 4 days a week. And, she does little things. She sets the tables for breakfast. She, refills the syrups and freshens the flowers and, talks to the guests, and it keeps her active and engaged. And it's so good for her.
How old is she?
Granny is
80s?
yeah, she's late 80s. She's 86. And she looks like she's young 70s. She's anybody to look up to. She is the love of my life. She is an amazing human. And I would love to grow up and be just like her. She's just wonderful. And that was a way to keep her active once we sold the restaurant, because she still worked 3-4 days a week at the restaurant before we sold it. So now she's up here with us. And, my kids get to have such a beautiful relationship with her. And you pull in the driveway and you see Granny's car here and you're like, oh, everything's okay. Granny's here. And it is just like this, I don't know. We're just lovey, huggy people.
You guys are a tight family, just like I have a tight family.
Yeah.
And I just love that your business is a family business and you guys all do it together. And I can understand the tight knit family because people laugh with how close we are.
I'm so glad you said that. People look at us like we're nuts.
Yes.
And like, oh, you live with that? Yeah, I do. Like, who wouldn't want to live with them? Like, we're like the best roommates ever. Like,
my sister was telling, not the sister that I do real estate with, my other sister, people were asking her like, oh, what'd you do this weekend? And she was like, oh, I hung out with my sisters. I was at my parents. And then the next weekend they're like, what'd you do? And she's like, oh, I hung out with my sister. And after like the third weekend, they're like, why are you hanging out with your family every single weekend? She's like, they're my best friends.
why wouldn't I want to be with them? Like, and it's funny, you figure we have like a week off, we close, and instead of us doing our own thing, we're like, oh no, we're all going to be together in the same house all over again. And it's, I don't know. I think a lot of people don't have it. So it's hard to understand, but it's so nice when you do meet people like yourself that get it. And I don't know. I wouldn't want it any other way.
Agreed.
We're lucky.
Real quick before we switch to the rapid fire 5 and 5, what are your struggles or your strengths with social media?
Being consistent. I feel like sometimes I am good and I am posting every day. There's stories, there's Instagram posts, there's a reel, and then life just gets in the way, and you're making dinner and there's laundry to do and the dog needs a walk, and it's like, oh my God, have I even fed him today? And it's just crazy. And then it's like that takes a back seat. So I think being consistent, and unfortunately, like I know what I should be doing. I know I can post in advance and I can schedule it. It's just finding the time and making it a priority, because I'm sure I could find the time. It's making it a priority to do that. I think that's hard for me. I have the content. My girlfriend's a photographer. She takes our room pictures. I could say I want to set up a photo shoot for our picnic and she'll be here. Like I have the means to do it. It's like on the back burner. And maybe I just don't really like it.
Is it goals for 2025?
I think it'll have to be. I mean, after I met with you guys, like I would have never posted that we went to the Rolling Stones on our Facebook page. But it's true. There is classic rock music played in our hay barn every morning. And that's what my dad cooks to. And he has long hair and he looks like a rock and roll guy. And, that's who he is. My little boy has long hair and a man bun and plays guitar. It's like who we are. So these people get to know us. And I think it was a really good point that was shared in our last meeting. That was like, you know what? People do want to know what you do outside of work.
They want to know the face.
Or like interesting enough. Like, but it people did care. And we're like, oh my God, that's so you guys. And you should see Mick Jagger once in your life. And, it was cool to have that interaction. And especially the people that know us, that follow us, were like, wow, I'm so glad, my dad and Jagger got to experience that together. That was more of like that was a dad Jagger thing. And Jagger was screaming, my name is Jagger. Like, oh, I mean, priceless memories that, you know what, it was nice that we shared with everybody. So I think
That's
I need
cute.
to get more comfortable on that end.
Yeah, people want to know the face behind the business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I love.
I've been paying attention to other businesses. Like, oh wow, they are out here talking about their day and doing what they're doing. And maybe I'm just self-conscious. I've always heard like I have a high-pitched voice and I'm this and I'm that. And it's like, do I really want to put myself out there? But I would like to grow. And definitely a goal. Definitely this year's goal.
Awesome. All right, switching to our 5 and 5. What does your ideal chill day look like?
Oh, the best day ever. We would drive down to Ventnor. I would pick up an iced coffee from Remedy and I would sit on the beach and watch my kids play, and I would play, and we would boogie board and build sandcastles and not go home until it was dark. We are beach people. We want to be out there from the time the sun goes up till the sun goes down, and finish the night off at the boardwalk with a slice of pizza and the best day.
That sounds amazing. My husband and I, we are opposites. I'm a beach
Oh,
gal.
no.
He's a lake guy. He grew up on the lake.
Oh, cool. Yeah, see, we don't know anybody that has done that. So it sounds buggy to me.
It's cooler. I wear sweatshirts sometimes. Gets me ready for the fall.
Oh, gross. No, we're good. Oh, you come to the beach with us. We're a good time on the beach.
I'm down for a day trip. You don't have to tell me twice.
I will not.
What are you currently reading or listening to?
I am a sucker for a Mel Robbins podcast. I adore her, and I feel like whenever I get in like a kind of mood, I'm like, just put something on and listen to. You know what makes you feel better. You know what kind of motivates you and gets you back in that mindset that you need to be into. I love to read. Love to read. I just feel like I haven't had the time, so I've been making time. What have I read recently? Daisy Jones and the Six. Like, I'm reading books that aren't pertain to business, which is fine.
I read that. That was a good one.
That was cute. And The Seven Husbands of, what was it, Evelyn Hugo.
Yep.
Loved that. I cried that was my beach read last year. And I just bought one about the people you meet on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly is a very good one.
Girl, I read all 3 of those because I'm a book nerd.
I love that. See, I want to be a book nerd. I just am making the time to do so. I've been trying to wake up early before the kids get up and like having my coffee or going to the gym or like doing something for me.
That's hard.
I wish I would have done that when they were little. I feel like a little guilty. I just started now when they're so much older, but that would have been smart for me to do when they were younger, but it's hard.
It is hard to have that motivation to do that.
Yeah.
What's the song you blast the shit out of when entrepreneur mom life is too much for you?
Could go so many different ways. And I read this question and I was like, I don't know where to begin.
What's the first one that popped up?
Like an old school Eminem or Lil Wayne will put me right in the like I can take over the world kind of mode. And then any Eagles song, Go Your Own Way. Any classic like Eagles song gets me in that kind of frame of mind too.
What are your thoughts on Eminem's new song, Houdini?
It is so weird to hear my kids listen to it. I walked into Jagger's room the other morning and he had it on his Alexa and it was edited. And I was like, this is weird. And I was like, can I play you like old school Eminem, please? And that's so funny. That's like his pump up song in the car now is like Lose Yourself.
Aww.
Before we get to baseball. And the two of us will just lose our mind. Like, thank God our windows are tinted. We lose our minds. And that's what we listen to on the way to baseball to get him ready. And I don't know. It's not for me.
Who would have ever thought that Eminem was bringing generations together?
I'm insane because Rolling Stones to Eminem, like they only listen to what we listen to.
Love it.
So cool.
What's your favorite app or tool you use as an entrepreneur, a mom, or both?
See, I read this too, and I was like, oh, she's gonna hate me. In this part, I'm old school. I don't like to use my phone, like in that aspect. Like I have like a Google Calendar is like too much. I need my old school daily planner, and I write everything down.
Me too.
That's the only way I can really focus.
That's
if
me
it's
too.
on my phone, I do it all the time. I pick up my phone, I look at it, and I put it down. I don't text people back. I think I did and I didn't. I open an email and I should answer it right then and there, and I don't. I'm better with pen and paper. And that's the only way things get done.
You're old at heart.
I am. I've been seasoned to be this old soul, which is great. But I'm not an app person.
And our last question. What's some advice you can give a struggling entrepreneur mom?
Take the risk. Like just do it. Just take the risk and really appreciate those moments of joy when those risks pay off. And, the things like I call like our perks. Enjoy those, like soak that in, because that's what's going to get you through over the next hurdle.
That is so true.
Yeah, you need to, I don't know. I think your mindset and appreciating things, and it just gets you to the next step. You can do anything.
You can do anything.
You can do anything you put your mind to. You work hard and you can have it all.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. If people wanted to reach out to you, what is the best way for them to reach out?
You can grab us on Instagram at Whitewing Farm or Whitewing Farm on Facebook. That would be wonderful. I would love to talk to anybody.
Yes. All right, everyone. I'm going to leave you with another quote. And you kind of hit on this today with being fearless.
God, who knew?
The quote is, once you become fearless, life becomes limitless. All right, everyone. Until next time.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you for joining this episode of Badass Mother Hustler. If you loved this episode as much as we did, and it left you feeling inspired and empowered, give us a quick like and subscribe, and we'll invite you back to our next episode. And be sure to share us on your socials and visit our Instagram, Badass Mother Hustler Podcast. We'll see you next time.